Hey, hey. Hi, guys. I know it's late, but I didn't want to leave you guys high and dry. So I'm going to do I'm not doing right by the zodiacs that I still needed to get to because I'm on limited time. I'm still technically on vacation and have been spending time with my mama. So forgive me that you guys are getting really severely shortchanged, but I still wanted to do a little something for Aries, Gemini, Scorpio, and Ophiuchus. So this is just a quick little message for each one of those zodiacs, and we'll make it up to you guys as we get into next week. Next week, there will still be some bumps in the road, but as I have more family coming to visit, but I'm really honored you guys are here, and I wanted to say hello to those zodiacs. So Aries, we start with Aries, and what I had been doing for each zodiac was a little message about what is the person thinking about that loves our lead character. So someone who loves Aries is thinking about passion, and hoping Aries is thinking the same way about them. I will timestamp these at the end. Hi, RT. Hi, baby. Good to see you. We got a King of Cups upright. This is beautiful. So we actually have possibly a Gemini or a Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio that is very much in love with Aries. They're standing there with those arms open like, a King of Cups ready to give love, hoping Aries would love them in return. Is this person, have they made this declaration? No. Six of Pentacles in the reverse. In fact, I don't think in this storyline, I don't think that whomever this is who adores our Aries has said anything at all. Not even an inclination of being frenzies or palsies. This feels like secret romance for Aries. This feels like we have a King of Cups who perhaps fantasizes heavily about Aries. Does Aries have any inkling about this at all from their side? I mean, this person hasn't said anything from what we can see with that Six of Pentacles in the reverse. It's interesting because when I asked, does Aries know anything about this and the way this person feels? And we have the Seven of Cups in the reverse, which would normally be, like I have clarity, I'm not confused. But Eight of Coins, I honestly think this is one of those situations where no move has been made yet. This is the longing glances with no communication yet. Maybe Aries works with this person, or Aries is astute enough to say, I can tell this person has a lot going on in their life that they're trying to fix. They're trying to work on things. They're not trying to come toward me right now. I already know that. They're not in my world yet because they're not able to be. They wouldn't be in my world yet. Do I see them taking care of things that they need to? Yes. Do I think they have a whole bunch of stuff they need to do first? Yes. I don't know. To me, that almost indicates maybe Aries wouldn't be interested in having this person's energy come toward them. I don't know. We do have the soulmate energy. I almost feel though like this is Aries knowing that they maybe like this King of Cups and that this King of Cups likes them, but at the same time, it's like, who knows what we could be. There is a decided work element to this. And we have three different soulmates here. I almost wonder if, I'm not going to say this is taboo, or Aries couldn't possibly interact with this person in a romantic sense, but it does say Aries is saying, I don't think it's time yet. I know point blank that they're working on other things. They're doing what they need to do. I don't know that I would say Aries is aware that this person is in love with them, because this person has not given any of those signs. I think that this King of Cups has way more emotions for Aries than Aries would actually guess. Aries may know that they're kind of interested, or that we're soulmates, or that we have kind of a comfort zone, a rapport, but I don't think Aries knows that this King of Cups is actually in love with them and is spends considerable amount of time fantasizing with that Lover's card. And, I said maybe it's not exactly taboo, but we do have the temptation, right? We've got kind of the whole, serpent there in the Garden of Eden going on. So I'm going to say there could be a bit of a taboo here. And maybe that's why Aries is kind of shrugging it off like, oh, it's not. I mean, yeah, I think there's a little bit of a vibe. We get along well, but I don't think that they're all hot and bothered over me, because they've got other stuff going on that they need to work on in their own life. They're focused on career. They're more interested in work than they are in trying to date me. And I would just say in this storyline, that is not correct. This person is hiding it well, but they are quite nuts about Aries is what we see. All right, next I'm going to go to Gemini. And sorry, guys, these are just quick little hits because I don't want to leave these zodiacs out, even though I'm so sorry that I can't get to every zodiac the way I would have liked to have today. But I'm really excited to get to spend time with my mommy. So sorry I look like a wet rat. I've been in the pool. We've just been having a nice Sunday together. So thanks so much for being here. Smarter Child, love is legendary. RT, thanks again, guys. All right, Gemini, you're up next. 5:15. All right, and I will timestamp this. All right, I just want to take a look at whomever it is that's in love with Gemini. This doesn't mean Gemini knows this. This doesn't mean that they've approached Gemini. We may have a rock star energy. We've got this Knight of Wands. The person that loves Gemini could come across as a showboater. They could come across as somebody who is like, they always find a way to take their shirt off. They can't, oh man, this person, they could be the life of the party. They could be highly, sensualized. They could be somebody who likes to get out there and like, in both cases, the arms are up, like everybody look at me, they come to town, they make things fun. They may talk a good game. They may be somebody that wants to look good specifically in front of Gemini. I feel like this person shows off and hopes that Gemini notices, like, I'm going to figure out a way to get my shirt off. See, ask people, who's Gemini looking? Did they notice? That's how this comes across. Masculine or feminine. Let's be honest. Like, somebody who maybe really wants Gemini to be attracted to them. They may have like quite the expectation that Gemini would be drawn to them, whether that's true or not. We have this Page of Swords in the reverse. I'm kind of inclined to say this is somebody Gemini is like, oh gosh, no, I wouldn't be interested. I'm not spying on them. I'm not paying attention to them. I'm not watching them online. I'm not looking at their shirtless photos that they post. I'm really not listening. In fact, Gemini could, so sorry, but Gemini could have a little bit of an aversion for this person. Like, oh, they love attention. That person is such an attention seeker. It really feels like, I don't know, this feels to me like Gemini is not that intrigued by this person. 9 of Swords, 10 of Pentacles. If anything, if Gemini dealt with them at any point in time, Gemini might have actually said, oh, they cause me stress. Because they're so look at me, they need everybody's attention. Now they cause me a bunch of stress. No. I retreated. I would rather be, around people that I can trust, people that I feel like a huge rapport with, people that I can, rely on. I don't want to deal with somebody. I'm not even thinking about this person anymore. I don't have anything to do with them. Wow. Okay, so can we go back over to them for a second with the Knight of Wands and the Magician? You love Gemini, but you kind of are giving off some weird vibes on how to show it. Yeah, and they're bummed about that. But it's like they can't help themselves. It's almost like this person, whomever they are, they know that they kind of act out. Like maybe they're very impulsive. Maybe they don't even know why. They can't seem to get like a handle on that, need to like make people look at them and get their shirt off in public and get people to hear their voice. And it feels like this person would be great as a performer in a theater setting. Like, this looks like, a master thespian, like they stand and they project their voices and they're bummed though. They're bummed because I feel like they already know that this is a character trait. This is the way they operate. They come across as possibly a Gemini or a Virgo, possibly also a fire sign, but now we bring in the Libra, Gemini, Aquarius energy. I'm wondering if they're wishing that they had just been like, instead of being somebody who tries to get everyone to look at them and maybe trying to get Gemini to be attracted to them along with everybody else in the room, or trying to show off. I'm wondering if they're disappointed because it's like, why didn't I just play it straight and just approach Gemini? Why didn't I just talk to Gemini in my real voice instead of my theater voice or my let's be honest, this is like a snake oil salesman. Now, even though this card is upright, normally I wouldn't put a negative spin on an upright magician, but this time I kind of have to because we literally see him with these magical elixir that he's here come to town to sell. Maybe this person has a very suave, like saleswoman persona where it's like it's almost like they don't know how to turn off that false charm that, I don't know, it doesn't come across great. And I think that they're bummed because they wish that they had not played that role with Gemini, but I think that already did. And that's unfortunate, because obviously that might be why Gemini is like, I don't want to deal with somebody that doesn't, that I can't either rely on, or somebody that gives me a false persona. See, I almost think this is one of those stories where Gemini may not realize it because this person's botched it pretty badly. If they've come across as insincere already, because they use their panache, their charm on Gemini, and then Gemini was like, oh wow, they do that to everybody. They're just a salesperson. They're just, that isn't true. That's not, Gemini was not just anything to them. Gemini actually matters to them, but they still have this persona that they use on everybody. And unfortunately, they used it on Gemini too. And now that makes Gemini go, oh, they don't care about me. This is just the persona. This isn't anything real. They really, really, really wish that they had thought longer and harder, and maybe even found a way to talk to Gemini just one-on-one. They wish that they had done more thinking before approaching, had more thoughtful conversation. They also maybe wish that they had, I don't know if they needed to be single longer before approaching Gemini. Like maybe this person does a fair amount of like bed hopping with that charisma that they've got. Because I mean, let's face it, this can be somebody who's dated a bunch of different people, and not shaming anybody for that, but just saying, we're supposed to go out and figure out who we like and all that, right? But what if, unfortunately, they've dated 7 people that all happen to be in the same, whatever region as Gemini, and there's this huge misfortune of finding out like, oh wow, so wait, you charmed them and you charmed them and you charmed them, you dated all these different people in this restaurant. Wow, okay, so not interested. You are just shallow. I'm feeling like that's basically what for Gemini to be like disappointed in this person and then say, nope, I'm only going to deal with people that I can trust. I mean, it could have even turned Gemini off of this person, and Gemini's like, nope, I'm going to go spend time with my family. I don't even want to date right now. You disappointed me too much. They are disappointed that they didn't play this in a way that they would have actually shown Gemini that maybe my persona is big and flashy, but there's something real in me also, and I'm genuinely interested in you in a way that I'm not in this kind of seemingly shallow look at me attitude. I really think that they blew it, because I think this is somebody who's very gregarious, and then Gemini did matter to them, but unfortunately they showed the same gregarious personality that they show to everyone, and now I don't think Gemini takes them serious. That's disappointing for them, but I don't know, maybe they can turn that around, but they're definitely going to have to do some changing in behaviors. All right, I'm going to leave that there, and oh, good to see you, Empress Unicorn. Thank you for being here, love. You're so awesome. Carrie Wilson, thank you again. All right, we have got Scorpio coming in next. Scorpios, here we go. And Scorpios, I just want to let you guys know, I intended to get you a longer video, but I am kind of on vacation right now. I got a chance to spend some time with my mommy. So we were doing just kind of like having a nice Sunday together today. So I'm just going to still get you guys a little short clip it here, just because I didn't want to leave you guys high and dry or make you think that you don't matter, because you do, but so does my mommy. So here we go. So the person that's thinking of Scorpio, the one that actually loves Scorpio, that's kind of from what we're looking at from their perspective in this. We've got the 5 of Swords, we've got the 10 of Swords, and we got the Strength card. Well, they think Scorpio freaking hates them. This person is like, I don't know if they're like, if this has just been a big stressful mess, if they're feeling like overwhelmed. There have been painful moments, painful, conflicts and arguments, and I don't want to argue, but then on the other hand, I actually do. I needed to take a beat, but now that I've taken a rest, like I really want to come back in and argue some more. But I feel like they're in this place. If you love somebody, but you're having a lot of conflict with them, we got Judgment sideways. Okay, I will point this out. So this storyline is what it is. We have big conflict between Scorpio and this person. And even though this is the perspective of the person who loves Scorpio, they love Scorpio, but we have all this external conflict. And here we have like an entire very disapproving family group too. So this could be a storyline where we would be dealing with a character who loves Scorpio, but maybe has beef with Scorpio's whole family clan, has beef with, like everything that's going on. Maybe that created conflict between themselves and Scorpio, to the point where it's like, well, then forget it. You know what? There's always going to be just nothing but trouble. There could have been ultimatums. There could have been all kinds of arguing. And then it's like, we can't keep doing this. We can't keep arguing. But once we say we're going to stop doing something because it's got to be too heavy a conflict, guess what? They don't want to stop. And I'm not saying that they don't want to stop the conflict. They want to still fight for this, is what it says. They want to find a way. Even if at one point they were like, throw in the towel, forget it. You know what? All the conflict that's being, generated by perhaps a family being intrusive, or friends that are too much, or people getting in the way. It feels like there's way too many people in this relationship that all have something to say about it. And I kind of think it's created a lot of conflict. And in their mind, at one point, it's like, well, then forget it. We'll just leave this because we can't seem to work this out. And then it's like, I don't want to leave this. I want to fight for this. Somehow, some way, if we can get things back on track, if I can get things on track with Scorpio, then maybe that's the only thing that matters. Maybe the family will never simmer down, or, someone's family will never, stop making drama. But I don't want to lose this anyway. It really feels like this is somebody who wants to still fight for this compromise, even though they definitely said that they didn't at some point. 7 of Pentacles in the reverse. I think they've had time to cool off and think about things, and they may just, this is like a long time that somebody's been sitting back, staring, watching. Whatever it is that they have recognized is like, no, this is not something I can just let go of so easy. And I'm glad that they're, of this opinion that as hard as something has been, this is totally worth putting energy in to salvage. 6 of Wands. They might have also come up with, the answer of how to fix something. How do we get this back on track? Because this is actually success. And again, we have a ton of people here. I'm not sure. I get this vibe that like either Scorpio's family did not like this person, and that was really bothering them. And so then they decided they could throw in the towel, or they could decide to say, maybe they don't know me well enough. Maybe I got to let them get to know me, which I think is a way better approach, to say, maybe they don't have a reason to like me yet, but I'm likable. I want to treat Scorpio well. Maybe there's been too much conflict. Maybe they've only heard one side of things, but you know what? This is worth putting in the effort. We've got that Ace of Swords upright, and we've got the Death card in the reverse. This is definitely them wanting to fight for it. They do not want to let go of Scorpio. This is them wanting to, they're kind of like being inspired by this divine truth. And it might just be, it keeps feeling like if family doesn't know how much they love Scorpio, they're like, maybe I need to let Scorpio's family know the truth. Truth is, I'm not going anywhere. Truth is, I really love this Scorpio. Truth is, this is not something that I'm prepared to walk away from because this matters too much. That's actually kind of like really great, great energy to bring into a story, because admittedly, we can say, well, if you date somebody or you're loving somebody, it's just them that you need to be concerned about. But let's be honest, we all have friends and family and a full package that we come with, and that can cause a lot of complexity. And I think there was a lot of stress in this storyline, a lot of stress between Scorpio and this person, but they're deciding, I don't care. I don't care. This is still worth figuring out how to work this out. They could be a strong Leo. They could be a fellow Scorpio as well. We do have Scorpio coming out twice here, but I think that they're convincing themselves at least that if Scorpio wants to work things out with them, by God, they're definitely going to give it all they've got. And if they need to announce to family members and all that, I don't care. I want to be with Scorpio. So either you have to accept Scorpio, or Scorpio's family is going to have to, get used to me because I'm not leaving. That's what this feels like. It feels determined. It does feel like somebody's ready to fight, but this time fight for the right thing, maybe, is how we could say that. All right, we're going to leave that there. And then I want to get to Ophiuchus as well. Ophiuchus, my dear, 1947. All right, so Ophiuchus, thank you guys for being here. I'm sorry that I'm just doing a little quick message. I didn't want to leave those last four zodiacs out. When I said that I would get to you guys, I've just been kind of having a week off where I was spending more time with my family in town and stuff. So I'm sorry that I didn't get a chance to do a full-fledged 2 videos for you guys. So this is, you got like one and this little, 5-minute flash in the pan here. So, but thank you guys for being here. All right. So Scorpios, this is the message for the person that's in love with Scorpio from their perspective. We have a Queen of Cups. That's a great way to begin. This is somebody that maybe wants to give love, also wants to receive it. This could also be the way they view Scorpio. Wow, 10 of Cups. All of this looks like my heart is open. I offer what I've got. I'm ready to give. I'm ready to love. I'm very, very much open to all of this. Luminous Marina, so good to see you, love. We have a 7 of Swords. Hang on. Why do we bring in running away, lying, and hiding? If this person's in love with Scorpio, or excuse me, Ophiuchus, why on earth? And we have a 5 of Pentacles. 5s and 7s are both numbers of change, but we have like heaven and then we've got hell over here. Why is it so extreme? Why is this deviation? I don't want to say anything yet until we see a little bit more. 8 of Wands, I say, I don't want to say anything yet. And I'm like, well, they're not saying anything yet either. This is somebody who's either really worried, they're either in love with Scorpio, or they're watching Scorpio happy with somebody else. And they're like, I can't open up my mouth. I mean, I might be in love with Scorpio, but it's hidden. I'm hearing, oh God, that song by Blue October. It's the one where it's a great story song, because is this seat taken? Congratulations. And I've been wanting to give you something I've been wanting to give to you for years, my heart. It's basically like he's watching his friend get married, but it's like he's been in love with his friend all these years and he's finally telling her or him, on that wedding date. Sorry, I'm hearing all the music and I can't grab all the lyrics, but I can hear the swell of his voice. I love Blue October. We got a 6 of Cups. I get this feeling where it's like, you were supposed to be with me. You were supposed to be with me. This feels like an unrequited love or a secret. I never told Ophiuchus how I felt about them. I've had to watch Ophiuchus seemingly be happy with someone else. They may perceive that Ophiuchus this is my honeymoon card, by the way. They may have known, Ophiuchus at one point when Ophiuchus got married to somebody else. And it could have been one of those situations where they always felt like Ophiuchus was supposed to be with me. But I never said anything. In fact, I did the reverse. In fact, I avoided Ophiuchus because I thought they were happy with somebody else. And I've drifted further and further apart. But damn, even though I never said it, I never took action and I never said it. This is somebody, I don't think Ophiuchus would have a clue because they didn't say a word. And yet they've always thought Ophiuchus is their soulmate. Are you actively in Ophiuchus's life? Or are you somebody who just thinks about Ophiuchus from oh no, they're not in Ophiuchus's life either. So this is that kind of, the person that we all have, somebody that we probably think about that we haven't told that we love. We all probably have somebody out there that crosses our mind. And likewise, there are people out there that are in love with us that we would never guess. Oftentimes humans suck. We have the gift of communication. We rarely use it for even our own advocacy for our own best outcomes, right? That's just how we humans are made. And that's kind of what inspired me to do this particular storytelling this week, because I was like, oh, that's probably a good way to, look at this and summarize this. But sure enough, they are not even in Ophiuchus's life. They just never forgot Ophiuchus. They could live at a distance. By the way, that is my shaman card. This is somebody who maybe sends messages from their heart outward to Ophiuchus just because they can't seem to help it. There is something about like Aurora Borealis. I always look at this as like, somewhere in the northern, where you can see the northern lights. I always look at this as more like Alaskan native here. But there's definitely like, I don't know if there's like a star or something they think of Ophiuchus when they think about that. Two of Wands, they kind of live in the road not taken. I don't know why this person was a master procrastinator, but they know that they didn't pursue the road that maybe they should have. That stays heavy on them from what I can see there. They kind of live in the thought of like, I didn't tell Ophiuchus how I felt back then. Maybe someday I still can, or maybe it won't be until the next lifetime. Can I just ask, is their assumption of Ophiuchus being this wonderful mermaid, Queen of Cups, Ten of Cups life, is that even accurate? We do have a Prince of Cups here. So Ophiuchus might be dating somebody or be interested in somebody or have become pursued by an individual during the time that they know this other person, who, by the way, could be a Virgo. They could be almost anything. We've got everything showing up here, right? But strong Virgo primarily. We do have water, we do have fire, we do have air, and we do have pentacles. We got earth. So they could be anybody. And because they haven't really stepped forward to say who they are, that would make sense to me, that they're just kind of like, they could be anybody. That's unfortunate that they keep loving Ophiuchus from a distance, but not stepping up and imagining that Ophiuchus is just, somebody else's baby, which is another great song. Can't think of who sings it right now, but it's a feminine who sings it, but I'm already someone else's baby. I can't think of who it is. You guys, I'm going to go ahead and add Cancer into this because Cancer deserved another video that I also didn't get to, and I just thought about that. And even though I typically do Cancerian videos on the other channel, I'm going to go ahead and add Cancerian in this lineup right here, and I'll just mention that on the other channel because I know I'm going to be limited on time tonight. 26:52. All right, Cancerians. I know I usually put your videos on the other channel 2 times a week, but you guys got shortchanged, as did most zodiacs, because I'm technically on vacation this week. Well, for 7 days, from Tuesday to Tuesday. And so I've been still trying to put out videos here and there, but I've been spending time with my mommy. So sorry that everything's been a little bit wonky, and sorry I look like I got out of a pool. It's because I did. So this is a message here for Cancerian that's about the person who's in love with Cancer. Whether or not Cancer knows it or not yet, we don't know. We've got an Ace of Wands. Okay, so this person is camouflaging like crazy, right? Because this giraffe is trying to pretend that they're a freaking tree. Whoever this is who's in love with Cancer, they're very attracted to Cancer, and I feel like they are around Cancer, but they like look straight ahead. They act like they don't see Cancer. If Cancer is, look at this person standing right here looking up like, hey, you are a giraffe, right? I know you appear to be a tree, but you're not really, are you? It just feels like Cancer is possibly nearby this person and staring right at them, and this person pretends that they don't know Cancer is there, and yet they're super attracted. Like a very uncomfortable around Cancer is what I would suggest. We have the Tower. Oh my God, this person, and we see the crocodile coming up from, the undercurrent, and crocodiles are so sneaky that way, right? They come up and, snap their jaws around stuff. So I'm just going to say that with the Tower being here, by the way, strong Aries energy on this, it looks like, I don't know, they might really surprise Cancer. They may pretend like they have no emotions when they're around other people with Cancer. They may be very like rigid, very, I'm not going to crack a smile. I'm picturing somebody who's like a bouncer at a club or something, who doesn't smile, doesn't do anything. And yet, when the club closes and the lights go on, then they like crack a smile and suddenly are like, total, like the mask drops and they're like, hey, can I get your number before you leave? That kind of vibe. Or like I'm thinking somebody like in the military that's like very, stern and all about business. But then in fact, they've been kind of holding back like a whole wealth of, human emotions here. This just feels like their facade is going to crack, but this could really surprise Cancer if they suddenly, Magician. Yeah, I feel like this person almost comes across as 2 different people. Maybe in like a work environment, they act very cool, calm, collected. I'm thinking that this person probably is very different when they are not in professional mode. They are very fun loving, they are very warm. Um, I mean, seriously, everything about this person, the dichotomy could be extreme. They could be like, regimented by the book. They could work in like an industry or something where it's just very, very serious. Then you see them outside of that and they, or whatever, slow dancing to, ABBA music, like that's their anthem at a karaoke night or something. And it's like, wow, I did not see you hitting those high notes of Dancing Queen, or I did not imagine you'd be singing, whatever, Barry Manilow, oh Mandy, you came and you gave without warning. We've got, yeah, they play possum. This is very interesting. The fact that we have so many cards here that keep showing me somebody who is like pretending they're not interested, pretending nothing's going on under the surface, pretending that they don't. I feel like this person is, I'm not sure why they do it this way. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe this is like a taboo love story. Like I said, I was just giving the example of like, whatever, a cop on duty or something, or a bouncer who has to be like, look, my eyes and ears have to be to pay attention to what's going on around me. But guess what? I'm also a human, and wow, I'm really attracted to this Cancerian, but I'm not going to show it while I'm at work. Something here about not in front of the boss. They act like a totally different person. They act like they have zero interest in Cancer when the boss is around, like at all, or when clientele is around. They could even act cold. They could act distant. They could act any of those things, and yet they are very warm on the inside. And I just feel like Cancer is going to find out like this, like suddenly, that this person is so different. I don't know if Cancer is going to get a chance to see them like out of their typical environment where they play possum, where they are in front of the boss, where they are so stern and so serious. But it does feel like Cancer will get a glimpse of this warm, wonderful person underneath. I feel like it's going to be quite a shock to Cancer. How different this person can look and behave. They could be a Piscean. They could be very, very emotional. They could also be a Virgo or a Gemini, or as I said, an Aries. I keep picturing this as somebody who's like, they act like a lion, but they actually are like a lamb. They're like a big old teddy bear on the inside. That's actually really sweet. All right, you guys, I'm going to leave this one here and just say thank you so much. Really good to see you, Queen Libra. Hi, honey. Hi, Ange. And again, thank you so much, Empress Unicorn. So honored you're here. You guys, thank you. All right. I will see you guys a little bit better throughout next week. Like I said, my mommy is still with me until like Tuesday morning. And then I get to see my sister later on in the week as well, like on Thursday. So anyway, things will just be just a little bit still bumpy because I've got a chance to spend with family. It's my birthday's at the end of this month. So this is kind of like the way we're celebrating. And so I get to see some of my nearest and dearest. So anyway, that's what's going on. But you guys, thanks so much for being so patient with me, and lots of love to everybody out there. All right, bye for right now. And I will timestamp these. Bye.